Before you create, edit, or delete records in Salesforce, you should always perform a data backup. Even with the best of intentions, you may find yourself in a situation where you've deleted or modified data and then realize that a mistake was made. In addition to regularly scheduled backups, you should always perform a manual point in time backup before you proceed with any data project. There are 4 native ways to back up your Salesforce data. First, use the data export service. Second, export objects one at a time using Data Loader. Third, run reports and export them to Excel. And fourth, Salesforce offers a backup and restore solution as a paid add-on. It's important to note that when you're loading data, there's no undo button. Control Z, Command Z, they will not save you. That's why we test again, and do backups. Take a moment to let this sink in. While these tools may make backing up data possible, they do not restore the environment to what it was before changes were made. It's up to you to restore the database using that export data. In this lesson, we'll discuss the 3 free ways to export data prior to data loading so that you have a point-in-time file that will serve as your backup. Let's start with the preferred data backup method, and then we'll talk through the pros and cons of the remaining 2 options. Salesforce's data export service is preferred because it's comprehensive. It can include all records on all objects in addition to related files and CRM content. It's easy to use. From setup, search for data export, and click the Export Now button. The exported data section automatically includes all data, and adding attached files and CRM content can easily be added to the backup by checking the 2 boxes. Keep in mind that including this special content in the export request does increase processing time. These backups can be scheduled monthly or weekly depending on your Salesforce edition. Make sure you're aware of any existing schedule that may need adjusting if you're scheduling a migration project in a production org on a specific date. It's also important to do a test backup a couple of weeks before your final migration to get an idea of the processing time. This timing needs to be included in your overall data migration cutover timing schedule. When the export is complete, you must download the zip file. Ordering the export doesn't actually back up your data. It just presents you with a zip file that includes all the data you requested. You're responsible for downloading and storing the information. Zip archives with CSV files are available to download for 48 hours once the request is complete. Download the zip file onto your computer, double-click to open, and you'll see 1 or more folders within it. If the backup is bigger than 512 megs, then you'll receive multiple folders. Inside of the data folder is a CSV for every object you requested in the export. Even if the object has no records, there's a CSV for it in the backup. The backup doesn't include deleted records. If you need these, you'll have to use a different method for extracting them. More on that shortly. In summary, the preferred tool for performing a data backup is the data export service available in setup. It's always a best practice to have a full backup downloaded prior to starting data work, and make sure that you consider processing time when creating your data loading schedule. Let's talk about times when you'll want to open up Data Loader and use its export and export all features to create backups. You can use Data Loader to export from one object at a time. This is helpful when the data export service in setup isn't available, like when a backup is already in process. If you need a point-in-time backup before loading into a particular object, log into Data Loader, choose Export, and select the object. Use Data Loader's Export All feature when you need soft deleted data, meaning it's still in the recycle bin, or archive data, like tasks older than 2 years. Notice in this screenshot of Data Loader that when I select Export All and the task object, there are fields in the selectable list called Is Archived and Is Deleted that aren't typically visible. If your backup needs are specific to a small subset of data and you're fine with exporting from one object at a time, then Data Loader's Export is a great option. And finally, the least efficient, but still an option, way to create a backup of Salesforce data before data loading is by running a report and exporting the report results to Excel. The benefits of this approach are that it's pretty quick and easy to run a report and export it, and you don't need to log into a separate utility like Data Loader. But an immediate drawback is that the record IDs and reports are only 15 digits. You need to go on the object, create a custom 18-digit case-insensitive ID formula field, and then remember to add that to your report output. Another significant drawback to the reporting as a backup approach is that all lookup fields display text values instead of the record IDs. If you'll be modifying lookup fields on an object during your data load, then reports alone don't pass for a backup. If I'm tasked with changing owner IDs on account records in production, then a report of all of the accounts with the text value of the account owner is not a sufficient backup as it doesn't include the user IDs. If I'm truly stuck with running a report as a backup, I'll need to create a custom report type and use that to pull in the lookup field IDs. If I want accounts with the owner ID, I'll create a custom report type on the primary object of account. Click the Edit Layout button, then I'll click the Lookup Fields button, and then I choose the lookup field I need from the Add Fields via Lookup section. I select the ID field I want, which is the custom 18-digit ID formula field that I already created on the user object. Then click Apply. I'll add it to a report section, save, and then go back to the front end to create a new report using my newly created report type. Notice here in this report, we are now displaying the 18-digit user ID for the account owner. Because the text value isn't unique, the 15-digit ID can't be used in VLOOKUPs in Excel, so having a backup of the account owner ID in the 18-digit case-insensitive format is really the only passable form of a backup. Took a lot of steps though, didn't it? And remember, reports are real time. The act of creating a report with the fields you want in it and saving that report doesn't create a backup. You have to remember to export to Excel and save the records somewhere outside of Salesforce to ensure that they serve as a point-in-time backup. And remember, always back up your data before you load. Hopefully, I've drilled that messaging into your head. Up next, I have the privilege of nagging you about creating organized folders for your projects.